My name is Hannah, and this is my beauty budget. So, in this moment, I'm feeling very, very pleased with myself for renting this ridiculous blouse from Rent the Runway. This is an Anna Sui blouse. It's the second video I'm filming in one of my Rent the Runway pieces. I just talked about in my previous video, my story time video about the first time I went shopping after my no-buy year. I talked about receiving a month of Rent the Runway as a Christmas gift. So that's why I'm wearing this nutty thing. I, in my ordinary life, probably wouldn't spend the several $100s to buy this designer blouse, especially given how very editorial it is, but I am absolutely living my best at this moment. I'm hoping that I'm about to film the shortest favorites video in the world. I only have 4 favorites this month, 2 beauty favorites and 2 fashion favorites. So let's go ahead and get straight into the meat of the video. So it's obvious from the title, but these were my favorites during the month of December. This is just thinking back over the past month, which was a very, very busy one for me and one that involved a good amount of travel. But thinking back, I chose out the things that I already owned, that I had at the beginning of my no-buy year and that I've been pretty much using all year, but the things that kind of rose to the forefront as being my favorite items, my serious go-to items during the month. And I think that my 2 beauty favorites are actually 2 things that have already been in my favorites, and that's as it should be. What I mean is that they were favorites of mine earlier in the year, and then I sort of stopped using them as much, and then I started using them again. This to me is what favorites truly are. So the first one, for example, is my Armani eye tint in the color Gold Ashes, and I love that this was my favorite earlier in the year and then it's my favorite again. It's a recurring favorite. It's something that I use more some months than other months, but I love the feeling of having rediscovered it and then rediscovered it again in the month of December. I won't go on at length about it because I think I've already told you guys why I like it so much, but there's something about the way that it wears. It's got these shimmers in it. So this is just a really pale, it's actually on me kind of a nude liquid shadow. It's not as glittery as the Stila ones. It doesn't have those huge chunks, but it is very beautiful, pretty neutral, adds like a beautiful sheen, almost a wet look or a dewy sheen to the lid if I put it all over the lid. And then what happens is as my lids get a little oily over the course of the day, and also I think as my eyes open and close and my hooded lids kind of press and unpress on each other, it doesn't crease, which is awesome, but it does bring out a shinier shine in the glitter. It's almost like the Ciate glitter flip lips where you press your lips together and they become glitterier and glitterier as more glitter is revealed. That's kind of how this wears on my lids. And after I've worn it for a couple of hours, I think I even said in another video, when I get home at the end of the night and I look in the mirror, I really love the sheen on my lids. I find it to be very sophisticated and glamorous and kind of exciting and sparkly. It was perfect for the holiday season given that my family isn't very fancy. I'm like the only person in my entire family, both nuclear and extended, who wears makeup. Pretty much. That's not true. People wear a little bit of makeup here and there, but I'm the only one who's into makeup in the way that I am. So this was the perfect thing to just throw on my whole lid, single shadow look for Christmas, for example, because if I wore like an eye look like this to Christmas, everyone in my family and family friends would all be like, who do you think you are? I mean, no one would criticize me. It would just be a little bit why, like a little bit why. And I wouldn't want to spend the time just for Christmas with my family. That's just not the kind of time that it is. So this was, I really got a lot of good use out of this for practical reasons, and then I was reminded of how incredibly, truly incredibly beautiful of a product it is. So I was really loving the Giorgio Armani eye tint in Gold Ashes during December. And then my other rediscovered favorite was this lipstick. This is the Colourpop Lippy Sticks in the color Who Run This, and I think that they bill it as like a terracotta. I don't know how accurate this color will be because there's so much red and pink going on the screen. So it's obviously a red that has some orange in it. It's like a rusty red. Because I have a pretty warm undertone, it reads quite red on me. It doesn't really look rusty. It doesn't even look that grungy on me. It just looks like a red that's not too shocking. And I wore this in some videos this month. At this moment, I'm not able to remember which ones they were, but I also wore it in some Poema photo shoots. I also wore it out. I think this might have just been my most reached for lip actually in the month of December, or at least my most reached for statement lip. And I clearly remember over the summer having the same month with this. I remember reaching for it one day, re-remembering how beautiful it is, wearing it again and again for a bunch of events and photo shoots and videos and stuff, and then it kind of just fell to the back and other things became the stars of my collection, and I'm glad that this got to be the star again. It was a good month for it. This is like a good winter color for me. And it's pretty much the same story with my two fashion items. One of them is this amazing object. This is a jeweled collar. I've worn it on camera before. I wore it in one of my check-ins this year. I think I might have only worn it once. I didn't wear it on camera during the month of December, but I wore it a bunch of other times. It's like got cat hair on it and stuff. I'm still sick. I know I don't need to say it. I know you can tell. I'm just telling you so that you know that I know. We all know that I sound like 100 frogs. So it's got a cloth back and the jewels are kind of sewn to the cloth. Yeah, they're all sewn in. It's like jewels and chains and stuff. I got this at Anthropologie so long ago. Like it must have been 8 years. It was like way back at the beginning of the Portland years, 8 years ago or something. And at the time, it was like a real splurge for me to buy something like this. I'm sure it was on sale at Anthropologie because otherwise I couldn't have purchased it at that time in my life. It's the perfect piece of jewelry for me. I tend towards earrings. I don't really like to have a lot of things around my neck or on my fingers or arms. So I really tend towards earrings. Almost all of my statement jewelry is earrings. I pretty much have this one I have a couple statement necklaces, but this is like the one. This is the fanciest one. And I've gotten such amazing good use out of it. It started falling apart. I had to sew it back together. I had to glue it back together. If you look close, it's a little bit dingy around the edges. Like you can tell that it's been really loved, but I almost love it all the more for that. It makes it feel like a little vintage. It's like it's gotten vintage over the course of the time that I've owned it. And I've always loved it. I never fell out of love with it, but this month I wore it with an off-the-shoulder, like a one-shoulder bodysuit that we have been selling in the Poema store. I modeled that bodysuit when we first started carrying it, and I'll insert some of the product shots. I brought it with me one day because I had already modeled the bodysuit during a previous product shot session, and I wanted to change it up a little bit. So it comes across like this, you'll see in the pictures, and then I had the stroke of genius idea to put this on and kind of alter the silhouette of the already very silhouette heavy top. And I just thought it was amazing. It was really exciting to have a piece that I've had for years and kind of discover a new way to employ it. And I was also modeling that top at a tango event during which we were selling our wares, and I ended up putting this on to dance in it that night to kind of take it out around the dance floor, and it was wonderful for dancing. It was a wonderful way to take that bodysuit from day to night during that event. So I just formed a new appreciation for this. I wore it with some high-necked sweaters out to dinner one time. I wore it with some low things. I feel like I had this by my side everywhere I went during the month of December and through all of my travels during the month of December, and it just served me particularly well even after all of these years. So I had to mention it as a favorite. You can't get this. It's from forever ago. This isn't the kind of favorites where I'm like, here's my favorite. I recommend that you go out and get it too, and here's the link. That's never really what my favorites videos are gonna be. I feel like to me, favorites are more about paying attention to how much I love the beautiful things that I already own, and then sharing that excitement with you guys. So that's what happened this month with this beautiful and unique piece. And then the other favorite from the month is this. I can't show you it all in one shot, but this is my Aritzia blanket scarf. And I talked about the Aritzia blanket scarves in my what would I have bought? How much did I save? My video about how much did I save? Because I've been doing that thing with this where you have something that you love a lot and then what you want to do is buy another one for the past like 5 months. So when Aritzia started coming out, I bought this blanket scarf at the end of 2017. It wasn't a panic buy, but it was one of my last wise purchases at the end of 2017. I fold it in half triangle wise, and then I wrap it around, and I'll insert some, or at least one Instagram picture so you can see how it looks on, but it's beautiful colors, it's very soft, it's 100% wool, it's very overwhelming, it's really editorial in terms of proportions, it's really dramatic, it pretty much overwhelms any outfit that I put it on over top of. Ugh. Sentence ended in a preposition despite my best efforts. It overwhelms any outfit over top of which I put it. There. It overwhelms any outfit, you guys, in a good way. So it really like overtakes the silhouette. The colors will kind of start to dominate. I don't know how well you can see it, but it's got these like reds and purples, and I tend to wear neutrals. So I really like, in spite of what you see here, I tend to wear neutrals. So I really like what this does for an outfit, and I wear it all the time, but especially this past month as it's gotten colder and as I was traveling. This is like an amazing thing to travel with because you can more easily make an outfit warm because it's really, really warm. It has the ability to really, really keep me warm even if I'm wearing like a lighter coat or just a heavy sweater or something like that. So I was particularly grateful for this piece this month, and it's something that, again, like I considered buying another one. When Aritzia came out with their new blanket scarves for the season, I was on the site, I was like, yeah, which one am I gonna get? Then when the no buy year ended and it came time for me to potentially actually buy one, I lost my desire to do it for 2 reasons. One is the amount of money, because it's a pricey piece. I think they're $88 new, but most of them are on sale right now for $50. But even that, $50 is a quarter of my budget, and I don't want to spend a quarter of my budget on one thing right now when I have so many sort of staples that I need to replace, especially a thing that I already own one of. And then that was my other reason when I thought I keep this on. We have like hooks when you first come into our house. You come up to a little landing and each of us has a nice beefy hook, and I keep my go-to winter coat on one of the hooks of the hook, and I keep this on the other. So this is right in the front of the house. It actually looks beautiful as an accent to the home. So I've got my coat there and I've got this over top, and that's where I store it, and there's only room for one. So I thought I wanted another one for so long, and then when I faced the actual prospect of buying another one and bringing it home and putting it on top of this one so that there would be 2 there and kind of gunking up my coat hook and having to choose between them anytime that I decided to wear one, I didn't want that either. I didn't want to spend the money to buy one, and then when I really thought about it, I actually didn't want to bring one home and put it in my home. So I didn't end up buying another blanket scarf. I think probably what I'll do is I'll keep wearing this one for a couple of more years, and it will eventually get possibly a little worn out, really pilly maybe. If it doesn't, I'll just keep loving it and wearing it, but it's already kind of starting to show wear. So when I get to the point where I feel like I'm truly ready to retire this one, then I will consider buying another. And that is it. Those are my 4 little favorites from the month of December. 4 things, all of which I've owned for well over a year, and some of which I've owned for years and years and years, but all of which rose to the forefront of my collection of beautiful things despite not being new to me, and presented themselves as my favorite things and the things that I used the most during the month of December, the last month of my no-buy year. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope that you will remember to take extra good care of yourself this week so that you can be the most effective version of yourself as you do your work in the world.